Hi, this is Carl from Lingua again, and what I'm going to talk to you about in this video is something which I originally put together for a Spanish class, not so much for one-to-one tuition or small group tuition, but as I say, for a full Spanish class. And it was something which, when I first put it together, was meant to be something short, something brief, something which could be done as a revision aid, used as a revision aid, but which, for some reason or another, I made into something a lot more important, so something to which I began to attach a great deal more importance, but which slowly but surely did present a number of problems for me, but nevertheless was very enjoyable, and has actually, since I first did it, become something which serves as perhaps one of the greatest and most effective language tools which I've put together. And as ironic as it might sound, and as unbelievable as it may sound, this actually started out as a role play. Now, when we think of role plays, we think of something short and sweet, obviously, and this is what this particular role play was. And it started out as I was going to make it, I think, 20 or 30 lines at most, and it features a lady who's English speaking, who has an apartment somewhere in the south of Spain, where the neighbours and the locals speak very little English, and especially the neighbours who speak absolutely no English at all. An English speaking woman who has an apartment in Spain goes over there every so often with her husband, and who speaks Spanish for whatever reason, whether she attends a night class, I'm not sure. Someone who is forced to get involved with the neighbours, somebody who enjoys entering into conversations with the locals, with the neighbours, becoming acquainted with them, finding out about the Spanish customs. Likewise, the Spaniards, the locals, become interested in English customs. And the way this originally was put together was, as I say, it started off as a no more than a 30-line role play at most, and it features the main character, known as Zina, and the reason for that was, as I often do my role plays, what I'll do is give the people involved in the role play letters to designate the name. So normally, if there are two people in the role play, then we have X and Y. So that's why I decided to call the main character Zina, spelled with an X, and then Y represents one of the other neighbours, Ismael. Obviously, there aren't many Spanish names beginning with Y. And then I moved on to Z and gave one of the female Spanish neighbours the name Zafiro, which means sapphire. But then after Z, I returned to A, and obviously from that point I was able to assign more common Spanish names such as Arturo, Belén, Concha, Dolores, Eduardo, Fernando, Gregorio, Horacio, and so on. So what I did when I first wrote this role play, which, as I say, was never going to be more than 30 lines, was to ensure that all the language being used, all the different types of language, the word categories, were ones which the participants in the role play could use to express themselves in a simplified way, and to give the members of the class the recognition, the awareness that if you have a good grounding in vocabulary but don't know every single word, which obviously nobody ever knows every single word in a language, can use to express their thoughts, become competent in using the language, and using commonly used words over and over again as they feature within this role play. And especially as I made this role play longer, and currently it's around 1,200 words, the students do have ample opportunities to practice the vocabulary and to become more linguistically proficient. And as I say, realise that with just maybe a few thousand words, linguistic expression can be sufficient. So going back to what I said about the start of the role play, no more than 30 lines, and specifically including words, simple verb tenses. It starts off in the present tense, and then as we move on, we have different tenses. For example, the perfect tense. We have examples of imperatives. We have set phrases, interjections, which can simply be learned as set phrases, which require no grammatical analysis or anything of that nature. And you would be able to see that if you were reading through this role play, the same kinds of words, the same kind of word categories do keep cropping up again and again. And what I'll do is I'll continue this in part 2, and I'll give you an example of the content of the role play, just so that you're able to see the kinds of words which feature in it, and just how frequently they continue to reoccur.